Right. Hey, Commissioner.
Well, if you can hear on your phone, I guess. I can't hear it too loud. No sound.
Sorry. You're in the wrong link. Go to the most recent link. Let me send it to. No, I don't think you're on the right link. Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it.
They said you missed the break. It's like, we're just gonna let it. So it's almost a statement. No, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how is that thing?
I'd see a good amount. Looks.
Are we starting?
Yes, no. Members of the council, would you please take your seats? Are we ready? Ready? We're broadcasting too? Okay. Good evening, everyone. The time is 6 o'clock. We're going to call this regular meeting of the City Council to order. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It's quite a crowd this evening, and we're thankful for you all being here with us. I don't believe from the audience, we'd like to thank Judge Alexandra Naranjo for joining us this evening. Former County Commissioner, Mr. Alex Naranjo, former State Senator, Mr. Richard Martinez, Planning Commissioner, Mr. J.R. Trujillo. Thank you for joining us. Oh, County Commissioner Christine Busso, she had her head down. Thank you for joining us this evening. And Mr. Michael Hastings from General Manager of Jemez Mounds Electric Co-op. Thank you for joining us this evening. I think that's pretty much it. Members of the governing body, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight's invocation will be led by Councilor Dennis Tim Plaza.
Thank you, Mayor. Lord, you have entrusted us as stewards of your creation. Please guide our hearts as we make our decisions. We seek you first in all we do together. We give you our city. We give you our residents. We give you our workforce. May we always be mindful of their service. We confess that we are nothing without you, and our trust is in you completely. Amen.
Here, could we have a moment of silence for a lifetime educator on Salmo Trujillo, please? Thank you.
Good evening, members of the governing body. Thank you for joining us as well for listening audience. And as a reminder to the listening the public in the audience, we have this meeting being broadcast on KDC radio this evening. Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez. Good evening, I'm honored to be with all of you. Counselors Dennis Tim Salazar,
President.
Justin Salazar Torres,
Present.
Manuel J. Martinez,
Present.
Denise D. Benavides, Edie Dorothy Valdez,
I'm here, but I am having trouble with the volume. Can you try to adjust it, please?
Is it not connecting to the system? Can you go ahead, Ms. Garcia?
Aaron Salazar,
President.
Nanette Rodriguez, President.
And everyone has their volume up on their computers? Thank you. We have a forum, Ms. Garcia?
Yes, we do, sir.
Thank you, members of the governing body. Before you have the agenda for this evening, to approve.
Sir.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented, Councilor Manny Martinez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez. Under discussion? No discussion. Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Counselors. Excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez, in favor. Counselors Tim Salazar Dennis,
President. Part of the motion, sorry.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Denise D. Benavides, in favor. Dorothy D. Valdez,
In favor?
Aaron Salazar,
In favor.
Nanette Rodriguez. For the motion. Manuel D. Martinez,
For the motion.
motion carried.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. We don't have public comment, Ms. Garcia.
Yes, we do, sir. We have two visitors, Rachel Valencia. And we have Bethany Bradley. Please state your name, your address, and limit comments to about 2 minutes, please.
Ms. Rachel Valencia, is she here?
I am. Good evening. I want
If you wouldn't mind coming up to the podium, please.
I'm actually here to represent it's on the agenda for the Espinola Gardens.
Oh, okay,
I just signed in.
okay.
So you want me to have?
Yeah, if
Okay.
you don't mind, we'll have to present during that time. Ms. Garcia,
Okay, Bethany Bradley.
thank you.
Hi, everyone, still me. So I did make copies of these that we had discussed last month. I know I was supposed to be on the agenda for the public safety meeting, and unfortunately it was canceled when I arrived. And I was not even put on it. So it occurred to me that the law was changed even after we had discussed it when I was here. Think that having copies.
Come on,
If
can you
not,
fix my volume? I can't hear. And it's all the way, it's all the way
I
up.
had a lawyer go over this to help me with it. and to make sure that what I was saying was definitely what is stated. Now, it said, and I was told that it was not put in the law, that it is unlawful for any person to maintain a feral colony within city limits by tracking, feeding, vaccinating, neutering, or releasing members of a feral colony. Any person maintaining a feral cat colony within city limits as of this date, which was February 22nd, shall cease all activity that supports the colony. Any permits or other regulation approvals made by the city to persons actively managing a feral colony are hereby revoked and further effective. Now, I was told last time I had spoken that this law was actually not changed when it was. We came here, we spoke, we were told things were not going to change. They were. So now Espanola is overrun with kittens. I can prove it. I have plenty that I have been rescuing, trying to help. Yes, it's illegal. Too bad. Espanola Humane is overrun with kittens right now. They're begging for fosters. About 88% of those kittens being brought in are brought in from feral colonies because people are not able to trap and neuter. And they are not able to hire somebody to do the job that I was brought all the way in from Chicago for, which is TNR. Now, again, I would like to know how we can get this fixed. Because it's not fair to tell somebody that you're going to fine them if they're trapping and neutering, if they're trying to care for their colony and get cats that are out in their yard that are dumped on a daily basis fixed because they're afraid they're going to be fined. I would also like to say that I know that a couple months ago, you guys placed me and 3 of my fellow friends have been working on this as the Animal Coalition, working with as part of the city council. Well, we have decided to step down, all of us. I've been coming here for almost 4 months and not one person has bothered with me. And it's very disappointing because that was my whole point of why I even spoke with you was animal rights. Number 1 reason why I moved from Chicago here to New Mexico and Espanola was to help. How can I help when I have no help? Puppies being sold at 5 weeks in a parking lot at Walmart, sick. Kittens being dumped. I just had to euthanize a cat that was dumped in a lady's yard because I took it in to try and help it survive and it did not. Now you tell me, where have you guys been to help me fix this issue? We can't even get this fixed. And it's been 4 months. And I've been told over and over by one particular person that had not been overturned. Well, here's the evidence in front of you. I made a copy. Read it over. And if you guys would like our council to step back up, we want your help. That's the only way it's going to happen this time. We're not going to idly sit back and try and change things if we're not getting the help from the rest of the city. I think it's unfair. That's all I got.
Thank you. Ms. Garcia.
No one else, Mayor.
Thank you all. Councilor comments, members of the governing body. Councilor Denise Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. Just really quick, I wanted to kind of thank the manager and community services director for replacing the POW flag at the plaza. My veterans are extremely happy, so thank you so much for getting that done for us. Also, Mayor, I just want to mention we did not have a finance committee meeting this last month. Our new finance director is getting herself familiar and up to par. So we plan to have the next meeting this coming month. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez.
You, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Denise. I attended a North Central Waste Authority board meeting last week concerning a lot of different issues and a lot of things that are being discussed there. One of the main things that people need to understand is that natural debris that's collected within the city of Espanola can be burned by a burner that has been purchased through North Central. The burner itself sits on, okay, we get property at their dump. So if you have natural debris that is smaller than 3-inch branches in diameter, you can take those to our dump in Alcalde and they will stamp it for you and then you can drop them off on the way back in okay, we get no cost to the customer. I really think this is something that we need to really let our constituency know about. North Central has had a lot of issues in the past, actually, and more so in the last couple of months. One of the things that we have to understand is that North Central's disposal of our waste in our community is billed to that entity based on the weight of the trash that they take. So the effort is to minimize that weight, is to burn off the natural debris that people pick up in their yards. So it's very important that we understand that that's available to us. I used it today. I picked up a constituent's trimmings and delivered them, and I was surprised how many people are taking stuff to that burner. So it's really a good thing for our community. And like I said, anything under 3 inches in diameter, which is usually what we have in here in our community. So anybody can utilize it. It's open Tuesday through Friday, all day except during the lunch break from 1 to 2:15. So it's a good opportunity for us to start utilizing that. Even here in the city, I know that we've piled a lot of debris on the Prince Ranch, and that would be one way that we could start to dispose of it, possibly just maybe one truck at a time, one a week or whatever, until we finally get that place cleaned up. So that's an opportunity for the city also. So I just wanted to fill people in on that, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I think I just want to send our condolences to all both the relatives of Cypress and also his working family at Waterbury for the tragedy that happened there. I think we hold them all in our hearts and our prayers. And I've spoken to several of the employees that work there, and it's been very hard on them, hard on them wanting to get back to work and wanting to get back to normal. And I know it's not going to be like that for them. I spoke with the person that he relieved off the cash register, and she's very distraught over this whole thing. They worked very, very much together. So I'd like to just send them our condolences on that. And on the lighter side, I want to do a welcome. As you can see, there's a lot of people in this room. So will the class of 1982 of Espanola Valley High School please stand up and be recognized? You too, Councilor Salazar, come on. This year was our 40th class reunion, so congratulations, class of 1982. We're still here.
I'm wondering if they could buy a bench and put it in the park class of 82.
Well, you know, when the pandemic started, right, there was a thing going on Facebook that kind of like took the edge off of everything. I think we all remember looking for rocks, painted rocks. Well, we have the person that started it, right, sitting right over there, Miss Kathy Salazar. If you'll get up, please, ma'am. She started that whole project, and I think it helped a lot of us here. Now, I hope you painted enough rocks to join the art festival this year. If not, you still have a month or so.
All right. Further comment for the mayor, Counselor Dennis Tinson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of things. I'd also like to wish for condolences for the family of Cypress Garcia and those close to him. I didn't know Cypress until last year, a little bit over a year ago. Jacob Torres, the scientist for NASA, he came down from Florida last year and they had a big birthday party for him. Actually, it was at the plaza. So quite a few people went and I showed up to that celebration for Jacob. And that's the first time I met Cypress because I understand that his father was very close with Jacob. And then of course, Jacob became close with Cypress and his brother and his family. So with that stated, when I first met him, he seemed a little bit shy at first, kind of quiet and give him about 5 minutes talking and, he just was full of energy, full of positive energy. He was like a really, really great guy. And I instantly liked him. So we had like a lot of, good conversation. And in fact, the very next day, he sent me a friend request on Facebook and, we became friends. And just over the year, we got to see each other on a few occasions and he'd come up to me and give me a hug and, talk real quick and just like very nice guy. So those are what I remember of him, that positive energy, such a very good-hearted individual. If anybody's seen his pictures, you see nothing but smiles, full of smiles. And he's going to be greatly missed, but I feel that he did bring his influence into the world, bring happiness into this world. And me personally, I'm just thankful, very thankful that, he lived here in the Escanilla Valley, and thankful I got to meet him. And he was an influence over me as well for that, positive, good-hearted energy. So I would just like to state that about Cypress, and again, my condolences. On another issue, I would just like to let everybody know, and everybody's invited to attend. The NCRTD is having a ribbon cutting for the maintenance facility. This is planning to be on September 15th, if I'm correct. I think it's at 10 in the morning, Christine, or 11? 11:30, okay, so, yeah, okay, so it's 11:30. See, I was gonna have everybody come early. So again, it's gonna be at the North Central Regional Transit District, the big blue building, and again, at 11:30 on, I think it's on a Thursday, September 15th, everybody's invited. Thank you, Mayor.
You, Counselor Dennis, Justin Salazar Borders.
Thank you, sir. Just want to ask everybody that's listening in or whatnot, it's a new school year. So keep our kids and whether it be you have family in school or not, keep all our students in your prayers that they be safe and so forth. Got to brag a little bit. That's why I'm kind of underdressed, but fully dressed. I'm an Aggie dad, so I went from being a Sun Devil dad to being an Aggie dad. And we're not talking in New Mexico State Aggies. We're talking Texas A&M Aggies. Okay. My wife and I, we just got back probably about 2 hours ago from College Station, Texas, from taking our oldest out there. And it was a little bit emotional, but, it was a good emotion. And I just want the Espanol Valley to be proud. They have a wonderful product from Sun Devil Country that is now studying biomedical sciences at Texas A&M. So.
Counselor Benavides. Forgive me, yes, Counselor Benavides.
Thank you, Mary. Just a quick follow-up, just for the listening public. We finally, hopefully, are making some huge progress on cleaning up the Santa Clara apartments. I just want the committee to know that that is a facility that we are working together on. I don't know if City Manager will touch a little bit more on the progress we've made with that finally. So I just want to mention that so that the listening public is aware. Also, several of my constituents called me on Friday afternoon and we were out, much to my surprise, watching the traffic as individuals, parents were trying to pick up their children at McCurdy School, and the speeding on McCurdy Road is unbelievable. And the backup because of that, and buses trying to get to Fairview Elementary was scary. And so I will say that one of the constituents, I went with her to pick up her grandson. So we went through the line and they have a process that's incredible, honestly, to keep the children there safe. The traffic, however, is another matter. So I'm gonna work with Chief Garcia, he doesn't know it yet, but, and, I don't know that there's much we can do, Chief, but, you know, if the safety of our children, I think, is more important. However, it does get scary around the time that the kids are being picked up. So just to let the constituents, out there know that, you know, we're gonna work on that and see what we can do.
Councilor Manny Martinez.
Thank you, sir. Just to follow up, also that reminded me of something else. We've been working with the Secretary of NMDOT to see what we can do as far as working on South McCurdy Road. They weren't actually aware that it was actually a state highway, is my understanding, that there was a lot of contradiction with the state, city. So now that they are aware of it, they are going to start looking into seeing what they can do to work on that road, sir, and other projects within the city. Also, I forgot to mention, now that I mentioned, or had I mentioned the Arts Festival, I promised I was gonna announce it every meeting till the Art Festival. We are still searching for artists. They're going fast. If you are an artist, we do have booths available for the 37th annual Espanola Valley Arts Festival. If anybody remembers, it started way back when at Northern New Mexico Community College, which is now Northern New Mexico College. It's now at the Plaza. It is September 24th and 25th, with ribbons been given out that Friday on the 23rd. I encourage everybody, if you have never been to the Espanola Art Festival, go by and check it out. There's a lot of great art, a lot of great talent, and it's all from this community. It's all from the Espanola Valley, from Taos, from Los Alamos, Santa Fe, and mostly from the Espanola area. So I encourage everybody to go out and it's right around Christmas time, you know, September. You know, it's a great time to start looking for Christmas gifts. But if you are an artist, I do encourage you to get a booth while there's still some available. You can contact Verna Trujillo at 929-1533, and she can set you up with the booth or send you any applications that you might be needing. It's not just art, there's music, there's food, there's plenty of stuff, great stuff for that whole weekend. So I encourage all of you to attend. Thank you.
Councilor Nanette Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you for being here in solidarity for my lifelong friend, Deb Garcia. So nice to see all of you in the crowd. And I just wanted to report that we are on schedule to open our Lucero Center pool October 28th after a very long time. They're planning an after-school program, which will be held on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 4 to 6:30. It's a minimal fee, and that fee can be waived if families cannot afford it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I think that concludes comment from the governing body. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. It's incredible to see the turnout here for the city council meeting. It's great to see the participation and activism of the citizenry when they're engaged in their city. I just wanted to commend our staff. Actually, going back to community services on August 12th, they had a very successful back to school party for the students of our valley before they went back to school. We had about 40 to 50 children that utilized Ranchito's pool from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 4 p.m. We serviced many children. The county rack stop program provided DJ system as well as lemonade. It was just fantastic to see the children have that opportunity. So I want to really thank our staff for that. Our staff has been working on getting our weed situation addressed. We're also looking at a weed ordinance coming before the city, and that's regarding all private property owners in the city of Espanola. Legal counsel's been really busy. Mr. Yutzi, he's just completed yesterday, was a whole month he's been here. So Mr. Yutzi, thank you again for coming in to serve our beautiful valley, and we're thankful for you being here. On that note, I want to express our deepest condolences on behalf of the city of Espanola to the family of Mr. Cypress Garcia. Chief Garcia and I had the opportunity to meet with Cypress's family on Friday at the police department. And I can't echo further the comments by Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar. Cypress was a leader in his family. Talk about a tight-knit family unit. That's that Garcia family. You know, Cypress and Cyrus recently lost their grandmother in December, and it was indicated to me that Cypress He wanted to become a leader in his family. So he took up his first job at Lottaburger. And this was his first employment, and he was working that shift with his brother that evening. What a tragic loss for this community. What a tragic situation. Very thankful for Espanola Police, US Marshals, New Mexico State Police that were involved in bringing this individual to justice. Chief had a lot of time, a week-long process with FBI, United States Marshals. They were engaged since a week prior to the murder. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to catch him in time. But really want to thank our local law enforcement agencies that went above and beyond to bring this individual to justice. There was so many properties that he was being cited at that it was hard for our local law enforcement agencies to actually pinpoint where he was originating from. But law enforcement did its job and they brought this individual to justice. And we're hopeful that the criminal justice system can hold this individual to the full extent of the law. And no life is replaceable. And in this situation, we pray for that family. We send their regards. On August 26th, that's this Friday, forgive me, I was trying to find the time. There's going to be a balloon release at the Lottaburger location here on the west side on Bond. As soon as we get that, we'll publicize that on our Facebook, probably the radio, to see that people can try and get out there to be in attendance. But again, it's Friday, August 26th. It's a balloon release. And so we deeply extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Mr. Garcia on the passing of a great individual. So I just want to go on again about our law enforcement. Chief Garcia has been with our department now going on 5 months, and he created a Medal of Merit award ceremony that he would like to move forward, going forward from here on, to recognize his officers and such for meritorious valor and bravery and service to the department and our community. So Chief Garcia.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Clerk, governing body. I know this is a solemn week in our city, but I think you said it best, sir, when we talk about our law enforcement agency here in Espanola, the Espanola Police Department. Like you said, I've been here 5 months, and I can tell you that I already call them my department. They're not my department, they're our department. And the young man that I'm going to talk about tonight, I'm one that I believe that we don't do our job for recognition, but this young man, since I've been here, it's something that I even saw within this last week. While we were in the middle of looking for a homicide offender, we were still taking calls for service and we were still working for our community. When something came to my attention by a supervisor, it just moved me in that I had to do something for this young man. This is a young man that's been with our department for 1.5 years. This is a young man that just had twin daughters back here in April. So both at work and at home, he's got his job cut out for him. But he is exemplary. And I'm going to read, once he comes in, I'm going to read in front of all of you his award citation and go from there. But this is a young man that I'm proud to say works for our department. And I've been in law enforcement 28 years. Rarely have I seen a young man like this that is truly dedicated to our city. He's at work every day. He's not tired. He must get sleep somewhere. I might have to feel sorry for his wife, but he does his job, and he is an example that we want to have in our city. With that being said, I'd like Officer Marcos Gallegos to come step in, if you would. And the rest of the I'm going to read to you all the citation. The citation states that on August 15, 2022, Officer Marcos J. Gallegos of the Espanola Police Department was on regular patrol duties. At approximately 7:45, he responded to a vehicle fire on 31 Mile Road that he was not dispatched to. When he arrived, he observed the vehicle engulfed in flames and smoking heavily. As Officer Gallegos carefully approached the vehicle, he observed an occupant sitting in the driver's seat of the vehicle. Without hesitation, Officer Gallegos approached the vehicle and he told the driver that his vehicle was on fire and verbally stated the driver needed to get out. The driver was unresponsive. Without hesitation, Officer Gallegos opened the door to the vehicle and with smoke billowing in his face, he physically removed the driver from the vehicle and dragged him approximately 50 feet out of harm's way. With courage and bravery, Officer Gallegos risked his life and personal safety to save the life of a person he had never met. The individual would have certainly died within minutes if it had not been for the quick thinking and courageous actions of Officer Marcos J. Gallegos. Officer Marcos J. Gallegos went above and beyond to perform his duties at the highest level and took steadfast action, knowing the danger he was facing. Officer Gallegos' actions bring credit upon himself, the Espanola Police Department, and the citizens of the city of Espanola. I'm telling you all that I saw that video. The car was on fire. His feet were on fire as he was pulling it out. I spoke today to the son of the father that he pulled out. He was eternally grateful to Officer Gallegos, and he expressed that. This kind of shows you the quality of person that we have working here in Espanola. So I want to show you what he's going to proudly wear on his uniform. We have a medal of meritorious service from our department that he's going to be able to wear on. Will also receive a plaque, a frame with his award. I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of this young man being here for 5 months and seeing what he does. And I can tell you, our department is filled with people like this. I'm so proud to say that Officer Gallegos is the Espanola Police Department. Let me tell you that. As you can see, Officer Gallegos, I really wasn't sure he was even going to be here tonight. The guys told me that we're going to have to trap him. He doesn't like recognition, and that's just who he is. As you can see, I offered him the chance at the mic, and he said, "No, thank you." With that being said, I'm so, like I said, so proud of that, and thank you for everything. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Gallegos, thank you for your merited service and bravery to our valley and to the citizens of this Espanola community. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, members of the police department, for joining us this evening. Next up, we have a proclamation recognizing Chicano Cultural Heritage Month. Official proclamation of the city of Espanola, New Mexico, USA. Whereas Chicano Cultural Heritage Month is celebrated in August to recognize the significant contributions of Chicanos to the history of the United States and to commemorate the anniversary of the Chicano Moratorium of East Los Angeles in 1970. And whereas Chicano, Chicana, Chicanx is sometimes used interchangeably with Mexican American, although the term has different meanings for different people, nonetheless, Chicano and Chicana was reclaimed by ethnic Mexicanos in the 1960s and 70s to express political empowerment, ethnic solidarity, and pride in being of indigenous descent. Chicanx is inclusive, of the LGBTQ population as a vital part of this movement. And whereas the Chicano movement was and is a social and political movement in the United States inspired by prior acts of resistance among people of Mexican descent that worked to embrace the Chicano, Chicana, Chicanx identity and worldview, which combated structural racism, encouraged cultural revitalization, and achieved community empowerment by rejecting assimilation and violations of their human rights. Whereas the Chicano movement was influenced by the Black and Red Power movement, and both movements held similar objectives of community empowerment, self-determination, and liberation, while also finding shared values in defense of sustainable ecologies and economies. Whereas Chicanos, Chicanas, and Chicanx represent a significant demographic in Española, and we honor their valuable accomplishments and undeniable influence in education, public safety, infrastructure, economic development, language, arts, and governance, among many other contributions. And whereas Chicanos and Chicanas in the Española Valley acknowledge their existence as vecinos within the greater Tewa Basin to the neighboring pueblos, we acknowledge that the month of August holds many significant dates for our Pueblo relatives, including the August 10, 1680 rebellion and August 3rd, 1837. We seek to honor those old relationships and continue to build a shared culture of love and respect as good relatives. Now therefore, I, John Ramon Vigil, Mayor of the City of Española, together with the City Council, do hereby recognize August as Chicano Cultural Heritage Month and encourage all residents to join us in acknowledging and celebrating the cultural diversity among our community as Chicano Cultural Heritage Month and the year of our Lord 2022. Is anyone here from the Chicano community to receive this proclamation? Represents all of us.
Real quickly, how many of you in this room identify as Chicano or Chicana? Show of hands. For the purpose of this proclamation, and thank you, Mayor. You know, really appreciate your support.
Can you come
What's
to
that?
the mic?
Oh, yeah. So the purpose of this is we're hoping to get to a point where every Chicano and Chicana child in the valley is centered in who they are and their values. And so we're hoping that with this proclamation in the month of August, that we can set aside space for elevating, educating these voices, celebrating our cultural strengths and bringing everybody together. You know, we really appreciate the support. So at this point, I'm going to yield the mic to a couple of my gente here that want to speak, and we'll try not to take up too much time.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor. We really appreciate your support in this. I think recognizing our Chicano heritage, although there's not an actual bloodline that would specify as Chicano, knowing that that movement was there to push our people forward, to encourage us to do better in government and education and sciences and all. It's important that we recognize those historical people who came before us, who really pushed to bring us into a place where we can govern and get our education and do those things that are very important that were denied to our people based on treaties that weren't upheld and promises that were made that weren't fulfilled. So thank you so much for recognizing the importance of this movement.
My name is Aaron Salinas, and a lot of you guys know who I am. You guys be my parents. We came from Denver, Colorado in the 80s. And during the time that I lived in Denver, I was born in 1969, 1970. My parents moved us from Greeley, Colorado to Denver, Colorado to join the Crusade for Justice. And the Crusade for Justice was an organization that was founded by Porky Gonzalez, the guy I have on my shirt here. Porky Gonzalez was one of the four horsemen of the movimiento that started pushing forward for education, getting voting, people to vote in their communities, and getting people to go into adult education, getting degrees, bringing back those degrees back into their communities and starting their own businesses, rather than working for other people and making money for the white man. Back in the day, the gringo, they would say, but everything's cool now. But I think what we got to stress is in our community is the same thing. Like a lot of the time, a lot of our elders are dying and leaving out the history of our people and the struggles that we have gone through in society. A lot of you people, I'm pretty sure, have gone into the cities and seen the racism. Still to this day, it's happening, and they're pushing down our kids and telling them, you can't make it in our society. You cannot make it in our universities and stuff like that. Or our community is always trying to struggle or trying to push. We have Los Alamos. Let's go to Los Alamos. What about our community? Now, our community needs to bring our people back and build, businesses here for our people, our small businesses, and bringing the income back into our people and bringing just pride to our kids. Because we've been getting Espanol has been pushed down so much, and people are starting to believe it. That these kids are starting to believe they're not worthy of getting out of here and getting better and becoming educated. And the Chicano movement started that. The Chicano opened the doors to a lot of universities, and my parents were two of the people that were dropouts from high school, and they made it through. Jorge Gonzalez opened the door for them to show them that they had more. They can get educated, and they can do it for their children. And I just say, I thank you, Mayor, for this, and I thank you, council, everybody, for being open about this, and let's move forward with this. It's gonna be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. My name is, some people know me as Adam or Adan. So Adam Bata, Adan Bata. It's the same name. I'm the same person. I'm a behavioral health therapist. I sent out a resource guide that we give out in the community. I'm a therapist at Northern New Mexico College, and also I oversee the Lifelinks Espanol Outreach Office. So people always talk about lack of resources, but we've been on the streets for years just trying to point people in the direction of how to get into rehab, how to get into detox, that sort of stuff. I'm also a writer, so I'm gonna just express some of my thoughts on this through some writing that I've done. I come from Holy Week and Piñon Smoke, Okeowenge and Santa Cruz, patient viejitos and restless youth. Chingazos on Fridays and Sundays in church, crease khaki slacks and shiny black shoes. I come from Enisaro Indians and crypto Jews. I am ancient religion, not new age spirituality, 9-day novenas and the retablos of Christianity. I am blue corn and blessings and punk rock mentality. Hip hop and rancheras and electric guitars. I am the choir loft in Iglesia that nobody sees. Hot chocolate at midnight at the Misa del Gallo. I am that vato from Córdoba on a big brown caballo. I come from manteca, marshmallows, and chili caribe, empanadas with mincemeat, bizcochitos, and fried bread. I am the sunrise at dawn, Lucero, Madrugada, lowriders and Hardys, Bel Airs, and Impalas. I am the wind on Black Mesa that nobody hears, bikers at Reds drinking whiskey and beer. I come from Hernandez, Ranchitos, El Llano, and cruising Riverside, Ojo Caliente, Santa Clara, and San Gabriel. Capo, Yunque, and Lower Alcalde. I am Spanish and Aztec, Mexican, Picoris, Tiwa, Tewa, and Towa, and shiny brown eyes. I am apple trees, car shows, and dry riverbeds, party falls in the pit, and government lies. I'll save you like Jesus, Sacred Heart, Holy Cross. I am penitente, alabados, guiding the lost. I am copal and earthworms, cottonwood shadows, and rattlesnake bites. Eagle dancers and lovers in the middle of the night. I am heartbreak and back pain, lightning and thunder, months without rain. I come from cutthroat trout and basketball games. I am military vets, pickup trucks, acequias and dances, big muddy boots, farmers and ranches, Abacu Lake, Puya Cliffs, adobe and wood, born again Christians, brujas and love. I am Yerbabuena, Quelites, and Santuario dirt, ancient remedios for the sick and the hurt. I am fistfights and shotguns and conquistador shame. I am mixed blood Chicanos with pure Spanish names. I am athlete and cholo, cowboys and dreamers, artists, musicians, santeros and weavers. I am nameless and named revolts and rebellions, oñate, pope, chile verde, garlic and onions. I am the birth of humanity, reality and dreams, the unheard silence before waking to screams. I am española. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is David Garcia. I'm from the community of Huache, just north of here, and I came to share a song, a corrido that I had the chance of learning this corrido from our Lieutenant Governor Roberto Mondragon. This is a corrido that was really important during the that he composed to commemorate the importance of our land grants, or our acequias. It also goes to how important it is to teach our youth about cultural resistance within our valleys, that we are a people that have not given up to that we're going to be assimilated into dominant culture. We have a very important place in where we are and where we come from. I am a former Chicanx professor, adjunct professor at UNM. I am now currently the Acequia education coordinator for the Mexico Acequia Association. I'd like to share this corrido that talks about a very poignant time in our history, and I think in many ways when we became where we just to the east of us is the community of Santa Cruz de la Cañada, which is super important in terms of recognizing that Santa Cruz de la Cañada has, in addition to its name of de la Cañada, it was also called Santa Cruz de la Cañada de los Españoles Mexicanos, for in terms of thinking about during the colonial period, there was over 50 caste categorizations. And in many ways today, we celebrate our mestizo heritage, but we also look in terms of the how each of those different groups of people, we can't just erase their names because erase their histories because we're all mestizos today. So it's in many ways an important point of educating our youth. And I'm going to share this corrido that talks about the resistance that occurred in northern New Mexico in the in the midst of the Mexican-American War in 1846 to 1848. And in many ways, we think about we have a continual legacy that we deal with war. And in many ways, how is it that we're going to somehow teach our children if that we not necessarily just come to reconciliation, but how do we come to a place that we're able to find sanación, healing in our communities.
Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo durarán tus desconsuelos? El americano gozando y tus hijos por los suelos. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo? Año de 48, eran el siglo pasado, en el pueblo Guadalupe, un tratado fue firmado en el estado de Hidalgo. Sucedió en un día 2 de febrero señalado de 1900 siempre que el tratado fue firmado en el estado del Hidalgo. Ahí fue firmado el tratado. En la plaza de Las Vegas, Carney lo había anunciado, ni una chile, ni una cebolla ha de resultar dañado, ni un chile, ni un cebolla. pasa una mujer en llanto. No nos apena ni tanto, que ni un chile ni una cebolla es lo que van a echar la olla. Lo que van a echar la olla no es un chile ni un cebolla. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo durarán tus desconsuelos? El extranjero gozando y tus hijos por los suelos, y tus hijos por los suelos. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo? Se publicó La Razón, porque si uniera la gente, pronto se fueron juntando. Aquí lo tengo presente, aquí lo tengo presente. Se fue uniendo a la gente. Ahí se fueron internando, allá por la capital. Los americanos pasando, pensando que se entregan el morral, y solo asaron las manos allá por la capital. Santa Cruz de la Cañada, el embudo Tausimora, formaron la resistencia, la cual celebramos ahora. Santa Cruz de la Cañada, el embudo Tausimora. ¡Que vivan esas comunidades! ¡Que viva! México, ¿hasta cuándo durarán tus desconsuelos? El americano gozando y tus hijos por los suelos, y tus hijos por los suelos. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo? Ahora han pasado los 2 años y con grandes corazones nos hemos abierto las puertas y nos entraron ladrones. Les concedemos posada y se robaron los colchones. Quebrantaron el tratado, con las tierras se quedaron. Cuando les dimos la mano, el brazo nos arrancaron. El brazo nos arrancaron, con las tierras se quedaron. Yo quiero hacerles saber, no somos gentes amantes de dar el brazo a torcer. Sean enanos o gigantes, sean enanos o gigantes, yo quiero hacerles saber. Estas son nuestros terrenos de las Mercedes cabales, ya sea del PLM o florestas nacionales, o florestas nacionales, son las Mercedes cabales. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo durarán tus desconsuelos? El extranjero gozando y tus hijos por los suelos, y tus hijos por los suelos. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo? Celebrar nuestra cultura y hablar siempre el español, y reclamar los terrenos bajo la luna o el sol, bajo el sol y la luna, hablar siempre el español. El día 2 de febrero hay que juntar nuestro esfuerzo, que no haya necesidad que se canten estos versos. Hay que juntar nuestro esfuerzo y que se canten estos versos. So what this song talked about was about about the loss of the land grants, the loss of our language, the loss of our culture. And every day, everything that we do in terms of our livelihoods, we make a point to resist, to make sure our kids are educated, and make sure that they're proud of who they are. But also, it's important to make sure that, we are critically conscious of how we teach our kids. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo durarán tus desconsuelos? Americano gozando y tus hijos por los suelos, y tus hijos por los suelos. Nuevo México, ¿hasta cuándo?
Once again, Mayor, council members, thank you very much.
City managers report.
Could I make a suggestion that instead of everybody having to sit through that, being that it's being at the council, we move that on?
Yeah, we could rearrange the agenda. Okay. So Mr. Yancey, do you mind going after the public hearing? Okay.
Do you need a motion to do so?
Yes, we'll need a motion to amend the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez to move city manager's report to following the public hearing. Second by Councilor Nanette Rodriguez.
Under discussion.
Under discussion.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to say, lo que no saben español, y'all missed out, siento mucho.
Next agenda item, appointment of city clerk, Ms. Debbie J. Garcia.
You need a vote.
Oh, forgive me. Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor?
Dennis Tim Salazar, Counselor.
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
Manuel J. Martinez.
For the motion.
Denise D. Benavides.
In favor.
Dorothy D. Valdez.
For the motion?
Aaron Salazar.
In favor.
Nanette Rodriguez.
For the motion.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll move city manager's report to following the public hearing. Thank you. Next up, items proposed for council consideration, discussion items, action items. Appointment of city clerk, Ms. Debbie J. Garcia. Do we have any reason to enter into executive session, members of the governing body? Being none. Members of the governing body, I would like to submit the appointment of Ms. Debbie J. Garcia to serve as our city clerk. Ms. Garcia comes with a bachelor's degree in general studies with a minor in psychology. She's a lifelong native of this valley, who's just returned home recently after a long time in Albuquerque. Her mother was very close to, I think, a lot of us here in this community. Dora raised me like a second grandson.
The big council, they asked me to be there, get there and they have another judge.
Interesting story is Miss Dora Garcia was the longtime presiding judge for the Huachipangue Santa Clara precinct. And she oversaw the elections there, and she taught Debbie a lot. I believe Debbie has the capability, the knowledge, the qualifications to serve as our city clerk, overseeing records administration. She's been working in this role since August 4th. And I'm submitting her name for appointment this evening by the governing body.
To approve.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez, second by Councilor Nanette Rodriguez. Under discussion, Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to publicly thank Debbie for extending herself to this position. I know that you're gonna bring a lot of life to City Hall just with your personality. I know how much you love the community. It shows in everything you do. And we're really lucky to have you, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Counselor Nanette Rodriguez.
Well, you all know how I not only do I feel that Debbie is qualified for this position, she has the heart and the passion for the community and for everyone in this community. She's a leader, she's dedicated, she's funny. She will keep us going, all of us on this body, as well as everyone in City Hall. I am so proud of her, and she is going to be a fabulous city clerk. That's guaranteed.
No further comment. I just want to really commend Ms. Garcia for stepping up to this role. I've known Ms. Garcia my entire life. She was my mom's elementary school best friend. Before she went off to high school and made friends in the net. But Dora and Debbie have been an integral part of my life forever. So I'm just excited. Debbie brings so much energy, excitement. A testament to the excitement that Debbie brings is this crowd that is here this evening to support Debbie. She kept telling me. So, Ms. Garcia, would you please call the roll? Well, actually, forgive me, it's actually Ms. LaRue.
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Counselor Manuel Martinez,
In favor?
Counselor Denise Benavides, in favor. Counselor Dorothy Valdez,
For the motion.
Counselor Aaron Salazar,
In favor.
Counselor Nanette Rodriguez.
For the motion.
Motion carried.
Congratulations, Ms. Garcia.
I'm overwhelmed. This is beautiful. Thank you guys for all the support. I love you all. And I'm gonna do my best for this community that I love so much. There is nothing like the beautiful Espanola Valley and all the head that belongs to it. You guys are fabulous. Thank you for everything. And please pray. I'm going to.
Would you take pictures, please?
And Miss Dora, we need you up front and center as always. And if you would please repeat after me. I, Debbie Garcia,
I, Debbie Garcia,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of city clerk
to the office of city clerk
in the city of Espanola,
in the city of Espanola,
state of New Mexico,
state of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the state of New
of
Mexico,
the state of New Mexico,
and the ordinances of the city of Espanola.
and the ordinances of the city of Espanola.
And I will,
And I will,
to the maximum of my capacity,
to the maximum of my capacity,
defend, support, and pledge
defend, support, and pledge
to the citizens of Espanola
to the citizens of Espanola
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I just like to congratulate my dear old friend Debbie. To let her know that her sordo is right here with you too. You know, there's a lot of classmates, hello classmates to you. Here, but Debbie and I go way, way back. My grandmother and her parents were neighbors, so we played together in my grandpa's corral since we were little girls in Huachupangue. And I'm very proud of you. I'm very honored. Mayor and governing body of the city of Espanola, people in the community, Debbie will do you a great job. Congratulations. I hate to give the oath and run, but I do have to. The magistrate judges throughout the state of New Mexico will be at our annual magistrate judges conference. And it's the first time in person in 2 years, so I want to get on the road, but. No speeding. Love you guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna take a quick 5-minute recess to allow Ms. Garcia to organize the reception. We'll meet back at 7:15. Can't hear. Jeremy, can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Did you hear, Councilor Justin Salvatore, can you please repeat your question?
I'm sorry, what?
The question is common, wanted to make sure the facilities and et cetera, gates and so forth are open for this group. Because I know just not even when we run into situations where restrooms like gates, et cetera, we should lock. So we want to make sure that they're open to the privacy. Thank you.
Mr. Maestas?
I'm sorry, Mayor, members of the governing body. I had a very hard time understanding his comment or question.
We will ensure that everything is up and ready.
From here on out, I would like the information technology needs to be here for the first 30 minutes of the meeting. All right. Any further discussion? Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I just want to state that I feel like this is something that's very critical to the youth of our community. Engaging and allowing them to utilize city facilities is very, very important. And like Councilor Salvatore stated, not only having the agreement, but making sure that they have access to bathroom or lighting or whatever the issues are. Whatever we can do to provide them safe areas and safe spaces to do the things that will keep them occupied. Those are the things that determine how well kids do, and I really believe this is one of the key essential things of being in our community. Thank you.
No further discussion. Ms. Lerner, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez,
In favor.
Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar,
Yes.
Councilor Justin Salazar Cotton,
In favor.
Councilor Manuel Martinez,
In favor.
Councilor Denise Fernandez, in favor. Councilor Dorothy Valdez,
For the motion?
Councilor Aaron Salazar,
In favor.
Councilor Jeanette Rodriguez, for the motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Next, discuss approve the actions of the Martinez Senior Center providing meals to family members and District Court Johnson.
Yes, Mayor, this was brought to us, this comes back to y'all, what it was on a budget item. The staff has run the numbers, and essentially, the city is looking at losing $22,000 on food. The total between food and labor is going to be almost $28,000 per product. So they can pay us $250 for breakfast. It's estimated to cost us between $5 and $7 for breakfast. They can give us $350 for lunch, and it's estimated that it's going to be $7 to $9 per lunch. So if this is a service that y'all want to provide, I just need y'all to be aware of it, because it was not budgeted to provide this.
Motion to approve the executive session.
Motion by Councilor Joseph Salvatore for discussion purposes, second by Councilor Manny Martinez. Yes.
Thank you. So I guess I have a question in the sense where we approached by families, learning about this.
We were approached by them to see if we wanted to provide a service in this year. They were told, well, food costs up. We can't really afford to lose money. How much can you pay? Because they used to only pay $2 or $3 per meal. And so they wanted 50 cents. Dora has been communicating with them, and she's the one who ran the numbers. And just the salaries alone are $15,600 because of the overtime required, because they go to rights.
And follow up if I may. Have we had another center in the city of this asked for this service? Because I was called today by a couple of centers here in the city, and they're kind of saw this and they're wondering, well, we thought to tap into this, right? And help, we can help them out, or for it to at least be a backup plan for them.
I don't think that we had this with any other center. I think this center is just because of the convenience price. So it's more of a convenience thing than anything else.
Sorry? No, offering food services. So, I'm sorry. I'm not mistaken. Who was that? Okay, so then you did say that this doesn't come back to us, obviously.
No, I mean, if you also did say that we want to provide this, they will well see in as an elected amendment when it comes to first quarter report.
Does the Family Learning Center have a means of food right now?
I am not sure, I know that they were calling to verify if they were calling to check status, so I'm assuming they have some kind of food because we have not provided the breakfast spot.
Thank you, I just need to be wise into the sort of finance and see if we can actually do this and we'll be shooting from the hip here. As long as they've got means of providing it to their students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is the Family Learning Center, part of the Espanola Public School, or is it a separate entity?
It's
Private. We've been serving their lunch for several years now. Yeah, the ongoing contract, I'm not sure if those prices have continued to go up through the years or just unique to this particular year.
No, so clarification, and Mr. Yatsi Barden, if you see fit. Counselor, the question is ultimately is, do we want to continue down this path? Pretty much just giving a helping hand to an institution that has been utilizing the service, but that's ultimately what it is. I mean, it's just, if we're gonna continue down that path, he's asking for budget authority. If not, ultimately it will probably then come to an end this evening. Mayor Pro Tem.
So my concern deals with whether or not this entity is a quasi-governmental agency or it's a private entity in its entirety. Do we have an answer for that?
I believe it is a private entity.
It's a 501c3, but it's not.
So what is the law concerning that change with providing those meals?
Mayor Pro Tem, this is something that I've got no information on. I can tell you that a 501c3 is the same thing. It's a private entity, if that's its organization. What the law would be on this matter, like I said, I've got no information. I'd rather review it than just sort of speak off the cuff.
The figures that you presented to us this evening, are those accurate and correct, or do we know there's some legal?
Those are the numbers that were calculated by Dora. The only variation, it could come down some, depending on the food cost, because she is estimating breakfast be between $5 and $7, depending on what they serve, and lunch is between $7 and $9 per kid, depending on what they serve. So there is going to be a little bit of fluctuation. She calculated them on the worst case scenario. So the $7 and $9.
I'm gonna let Jeremy, because he's out there. Jeremy, go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the governing body. Just to answer some of the questions that came about in regards to the Family Learning Center. So the Family Learning Center is actually a 501c3 and is its own entity. So what's happened with the Family Learning Center in previous years, or we'll just go as far back as this last year, is they were able to receive meals from the Espanola Public Schools as a meal site, because during the pandemic, the school district did receive federal funds that allowed them to extend what we typically would see during the summer lunch program. So that was one of the reasons why they received the meals for free from the school district, because they are not necessarily affiliated with the school district, but instead are their own entity. This is one of the reasons why they have to go out and seek other areas to provide their meals. Another thing is that this is not the only request that the city has received for the senior center to provide meals. We also did receive a request previously from another entity that wanted us to provide meals for a daycare. So that may be something that is taken into consideration too before it's approved, because this will add on extra responsibilities to the staff who are already seeing an influx in participation at the senior center, being that a good amount of the senior centers within the county are closed.
I'm gonna ask that we do a little bit deeper dive into the total cost of providing these meals. You know, I would hate to say absolutely no, we're not gonna do this. But at the same time, it seems a little unfair that the public would have to provide meals to one sector only. So there's my heartbeat. So I'm gonna ask to table this and get some solid numbers on what this is about and possibly if Mr. Maestas would also communicate with the city manager as to what other entities are interested in this bill. It might be cheaper the more people that are involved. It might be more doable. So let's look at that also.
I'll second that table.
Sorry, there's a motion to table, so there's no discussion. Ms. LaRue, would you please call the roll? Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Mauricio Martinez to table this motion. Table the action item, second by Councilor Joseph Salazar Torres. Would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez in favor. Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar.
Motion.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
Councilor Manuel Martinez.
In favor.
Councilor Denise Benavides. In favor. Councilor Dorothy Valdez.
For the motion?
Councilor Aaron Salazar. Councilor Bennett Rodriguez. For the motion. Motion carries.
Mayor Pro Tem, do you have a timeline of when you want this to come back?
I'll yield to the city manager and that.
We can delve into that information by next meeting. I think that this is something that we don't need to push back, so we will work, we have a new finance director, so we should be able to do the information.
So let's go ahead and table it for the next meeting.
September 13th. All right, thank you. Moving on, discuss approval of resolution 22-24, the Beatrice V. T. Martinez Senior Center ICIP program. Mr. Jordan Yatsi.
Yes, sir. This is, the staff went over the small list. This is a lot smaller than our list. They agree that it is ran correctly. They like the way it is. Simply, this is just housekeeping on the thing for y'all to approve as said. There's no changes.
Huh?
Can you scroll down? The list is right there.
Should be in the packets too.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve as presented, Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar, second by Councilor Manny Martinez. Any discussion? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, the priorities for the first priorities are the passport, vehicle transportation replacement, and the parking lot and ADA facilities there, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
So my concern is, Mr. Yatsi, we've been getting allocations and we're not spending them in the timeline that we have, and so to my understanding, we got capital outlay, or maybe it's ICIP money regarding the new senior center vehicle replacement, and that was supposed to happen now this summer on July 1st, and so to my understanding, that hasn't taken place.
I will check into that. I know that somebody has, I also know that this year the state did 2 bond sales instead of 1 for a lot of ICIP funded projects. And so they did a bond sale in July, then they're doing another bond sale in October. So it might not be that our bond didn't get sold in October.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. LaRue, would you please call the roll if there's no further discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez in favor. Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Councilor Justin Salazar Torres.
In favor.
Councilor Manuel Martinez.
For the motion.
Councilor Denise Benavides. In favor. Councilor Dorothy Valdez.
For the motion?
Councilor Aaron Salazar. Councilor Bennett Rodriguez. For the motion. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to action item E, discuss approve the disposal of municipal fleet vehicles and equipment. Mr. Jordan Yatsi, Deputy Sergeant, General Services, Director for the City of New York. Would you really take the microphone? So yes, it's there for you. Next, you're gonna play us a song for you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the governing body. Tonight before you, we had a presentation of an action item request for disposal of vehicles and equipment from the city assets. These vehicles or equipment are excess in their value of mileage. They've got excessive mileage. They have been repaired to the point to where it costs more to repair them than it is to just get rid of them. So tonight we are asking for council's consideration in an action item to give us approval so I can put this on the Gov Surplus auction website and get some money back to the city.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Legacy Martinez, second by Councilor Dennis Tim Salazar.
I have a question.
Under discussion, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Schreiber, and Mr. Perry, both for presenting. On number 8, there's a Chevy Alvarado bus unit 342, the mileage is only $50,000, 50,000 miles. Can you tell me why are we getting rid of that if it only has 50,000 miles?
That unit is being disposed of or recommended for disposal because it has very seldomly been used over the past 4 years that I have been here. And it is just sitting in the back of our fleet shop. And we are having issues with people that like to go and take catalytic converters. So we're paying for something that we're not using.
This is a bus unit.
Yes, ma'am.
We have another unit that we utilize to move seniors or children around this community.
We have another vehicle, yes, we do. And it is specific to the seniors, and that unit is the one that is usually used by the seniors, once a year when they go to Lockline.
No, I have a vision for recreation programs. Bringing the parks to the kids, in other words, picking up kids and bringing them to our parks and trying to entertain them in the summertime and their days off. And I never knew we had that bus, so I'm like, wow, we have a bus that we could have used to do this, oh my gosh. So if the only reason is that we haven't used it, I would like to have another opportunity of trying to use that bus. So I'll recommend that everything else on here is fine. Let's pull number 8 off and see if we don't do something for our kids with that one. If it's in good shape, is it in good shape? You're shaking your head.
It's in fair shape, it's
Not in good shape?
no, and it's a 1995 one, so.
Okay.
That one is we're paying for something that.
I mean, I have another question. What do you gain from this list? What's the estimated amount?
I can't tell you the exact amount that these items will sell for. It is based on the need of the public or the want of the public. If somebody really wants something like this, they will pay a lot of money. But there are times when you have public that won't pay anything for anything.
Last time that we did this, how much was it paid?
The last auction that we did that we just ended in, I believe it was March or April of this year. The total amount of all the vehicles that we sold and the money that we received back was $42,000.
What did the city do with that money? Did we earmark it for anything or it just went into the general fund?
Mayor Pro Tem, that money was placed back into the general fund. Based on the information that I was.
Actually get something out of this for the community. All of these things were paid for with taxpayer money in some way, shape or form. So I'd like to see us do something in earmarking this for the community in some way and possibly for recreation.
So what we can do is, if y'all approve the list after they're sold, we can come back to y'all with a total price and figure out where y'all want to put this back into the community.
Right, that sounds great. Thank you. I'll leave number 8 on the list.
So one of the things I've seen real quick before I get Councilor Rodriguez, we don't reinvest the money back. And so one of the things is when you delete a property or an asset from an inventory list, you do it so you can get its life expectancy. You can get at least some value out of it. So I don't think we're doing that adequately. We're not keeping track of fleet. I know the planning just bought 2 new vehicles. The chief's hoping to buy some new vehicles too. We need to keep on top of them and then we age them out appropriately so we can still get back some.
Mayor, in response to that, the process that the city was using prior to my starting was they would gather about 40 vehicles, then they'd get an auction company to come out and do an on-site auction. By the time you gathered all those vehicles and had the company come out, you're losing about $10,000 to $30,000 just in waiting for that process to happen. By using this process, by me going out and doing this on an annual basis, we will get more money out of what we got listed than what we do waiting. And I have spoken to Chief Mizell Garcia, and he is of the notion that he is going to want to request that this money be placed back into the budgets for the police department, for the units that are sold, so that he could use it to buy more vehicles or equipment for his department.
Well, I just want to say that the old recreation bus was purchased when I worked for the city of Espanola, and that was 16 years ago. So it's been a very long time that we've had that bus. Has low mileage, but I think it has aged out. But I am concerned, or rather I'll just have a statement. I hope that we're doing preventive maintenance on our fleet. That's questionable to me. Do we have a fleet manager?
Honorable Mayor, Councilor Rodriguez, yes, we do have a fleet supervisor, and we do preventative maintenance on our vehicles. They are on a rotating schedule for oil changes, brake jobs, anything to that effect. In fact, anytime that we have vehicles that are scheduled, there is an email that is sent to the director for those vehicles, so that the personnel that are using those vehicles bring those in for service. At the time of service, when those vehicles come in, they have a thorough going through. So they don't just go into just an oil change. They go through it and they see if they need brakes, they need rotors, they need a starter, they do a full diagnostic on those vehicles before they get back out. Especially on police vehicles, because our police vehicles are for the public safety, and if we have brakes fail on a police unit, when they're on a pursuit or anything else, who's liable, if not us in the city.
He's either going to resign or he's going to be forced to resign.
So assigned the vehicle, do they do inspections of that vehicle on a daily basis each time they drive it?
Oh,
Inspections turned in.
both.
Honorable Mayor, Councilor Rodriguez,
So ready.
that is done department by department. I can speak for my department in general services. Our guys do checks every 15 days on those units to check for fluid levels, air pressure, oil levels, coolant levels, anything that they can check, they check. The serpentine belts, and anything that they feel needs to be checked, they check, and if they find an issue, they immediately will take it to fleet.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yatsen, I think it's really important that there is a daily inspection on vehicles. If there's an individual who's driving a vehicle and has an accident and it's not reported, we're not going to find that out if it's 15 days later. So I think we really need to think about that. Thank you.
So one of the things that I thought concerning the situation being that it's this money is generated by vehicles is that we reinvest in the whole fleet. And one of the ways that it can save the city money in the long term is to invest in a program that checks are in place as far as whether or not they're buckled up, if they're speeding. It also will remind them about their tires, about their oil changes, all that other stuff comes in programming. Because it's very, very affordable. The county really recently purchased it for $126,000 for 3 years of that tracking system. And their insurance actually came down because they put these tracking systems in their vehicle. So it's something that we should definitely consider looking at as an investment in a way to save some money down the road.
I know Chief Garcia has been talking about getting those for the units already and going in that direction. So I think he's already the first department to start going in that direction.
I think it would be right if we would consider it for anybody driving a city vehicle. If you set the vehicle at a certain, you set the program at a certain speed for the area, And if the person exceeds that speed, it automatically gives them a warning telling them, you're speeding, you need to slow down. If they don't buckle, it tells you need to buckle up. It's just an amazing program. Probably have been extremely pleased with it, so. I'm hopeful that something we can do.
Agree with you, Counselor.
Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, in regards to her question, we do have a system in place already. It's called OmniTracks. It's a vehicle tracking system that is used on about 75 of our fleet vehicles currently. And we can set parameters. I just sent the link to Chief Mizell about 2 weeks ago and to Lieutenant Trujillo about a week ago, to where they can get into that program. There is a learning curve. They will have to get in there and learn the system. But there is a method within that to where it can track excessive braking, excessive speeding. You can do geofencing. You can do numerous things with it. And then it will, if any of those criteria that they set does not, is surpassed, it will send an email to them or trigger some type of notification to them as the supervisor or the coordinator for that department.
All right, no further questions. Oh, Counselor Dennis to the front.
So thank you. Looking through this list, some of these items give me heartburn, they really do. It just like again, going back to that bus, 50,000 miles from 1995, that's like 27 years. And then there's another one, a Dodge Ram truck. It has 125,000 miles for 1999. That's 23 years right there. So I guess that's my question is, these are hardly used vehicles and so on. So this goes back to the purchase. When it was first bought, of course, department heads attempt to justify a need for these specific vehicles. And then for them to be hardly used, that's kind of questionable to me. So with that stated, I would probably like to see something like in the future, we have certain vehicles and they justify a need for them to be used, but then they're hardly used. Is that a good bang for our buck pretty much? So I don't know, we could possibly look at putting items like vehicles aside that's like very low mileage or certain like various issues with them, because I would just think that you purchase a vehicle, it needs to be justified 20 times over to get this vehicle and of course to make good use out of it. That's what it's for. So looking at some of these items, I just and especially so old but very little mileage. In fact, it does give me heart. So we can look at something. So thank you.
Further discussion. Oh, Counselor Manny Martinez.
Thank you. On the as Counselor Salazar said, the mileage of the vehicles, what's the condition of the vehicles? Because mileage is one thing. You can have a vehicle with 20,000 miles that ain't worth a darn, and have a vehicle with 300,000 miles that will still go another 300,000 miles. So is this just based on mileage, or is this based on condition, or how do you come across to this
Honorable Mayor, Councilor Martinez, we come to this based on the direction or the information that is presented to us by the supervisor or director for that department. The example that Councilor Dennis Salazar mentioned was that Dodge Ram truck with 125,000 miles. That was a streets unit vehicle. And a lot of these vehicles that you will see do have, it seems like 125,000 isn't a lot, but these vehicles are driven in the city. They're not going out of town. So the units that will have the highest mileage that will be on this list will be police units. Because those units go out of town and they have multiple places that they go. So these items are based on the direction and the submission by the supervisor, based on information that is given to us by the fleet supervisor, Mr. Robert Velasquez, who does the mechanic work on these vehicles. And he tells me look, we're putting in this much money into these vehicles. After a certain amount of time, you're spending more to fix it than what it is to just get rid of it. Cut your losses, move on, get something else. And I think that this is part of the process that Mr. Elijah Elias and my Department of General Services has gone through to try and get rid of some of this old junk. So we can get something that's reliable instead of having to deal with something that the starter's going on. The transmission's going on, the turbo went out on the food. We have one of the Ford trucks that we just replaced part of the timing system on. Didn't work. Now we've got a valve that's bad. And these units are junk, so why are we investing money in something that is not worth investing in? And then plus, we have $14,000 on an annual budget for them to be these vehicles. So take it for what it's worth.
Any further discussion then being done? Ms. LaRue, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez. In favor. Counselor Dennis Tim Salazar.
For the motion.
Counselor Justin Salazar Cotton.
Absolutely in favor.
Counselor Emmanuel Martinez.
For the motion.
Counselor Denise Benavides. Counselor Dorothy Lopez.
For the motion?
Counselor Eric Salazar.
In motion, in favor.
Counselor Nanette Rodriguez for the motion. Motion carries.
Thank you, and just as a recap, Mayor Pro Tem did retract the amendment, her proposed amendment, and so it was adopted as presented with the liquidation of all the vehicles that were on that original list. Moving on, first reading, discussion of ordinance 23-04 regarding regulation of panhandling activities in the city of Espanola. I defer this to Mr. Carl Brennan and to Mr. Jordan Yetsey, and I'll chime in into it. Jordan, you want to go first?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This is an ordinance that was around before. We don't know exactly why it was repealed. Mr. Rennick did some modification, slight modification to it, but essentially this is. It's not a panhandling ordinance, this is a solicitation ordinance, is what we're trying to stop. We've been interviewed by myself, the mayor, Mr. Rennick, and the police chief, and everybody is happy with it. It lays out in black and white where they can essentially solicit, where they can't, who can do it, who can't. Essentially, this is a zero tolerance, no solicitation whatsoever. So we're not gonna just isolate one group or the other. It is none that are not within the boundaries of this ordinance.
Want to chime in, you know, we spent the last, 2 months, Charles, spent on this. Actually, the prior ordinance had some situations that were in conflict. This is a constantly rapidly developing situation of events based on the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. You know, it's constantly a situation with civil liberties. This has taken us about 2 months to just kind of come around to see. Hopefully, these issues will not be in contrast to civil liberties. And so, Mr. Rennick,
And as you say, panhandling itself is a protected First Amendment activity. That's the first thing to understand. The prior ordinance was adopted in 2009, in 2010, repealed in 2019. We don't have a history of that as to why. But since then, the 10th Circuit has delivered some more law on the matter. And so we took this opportunity to look at what that is. One of the most recent cases out of Albuquerque, and it's very detailed. So we're taking a look at that. A lot of what was in the prior ordinance is pretty good. We looked at that, we looked at the Santa Fe ordinance, and tried to address a couple of different items here. I'm sorry, I probably can't hear through that. this is just a draft. I want to emphasize that the chief and the mayor, and Mr. Yutzi and I came up with that needs a lot of fine tuning. It also needs whatever the council or the public believes is important or not important, or what it wants to see addressed and how. That's the purpose of this first reading. We're looking at two basic areas here: aggressive panhandling and ordinary panhandling or solicitation. I hear in this community and other communities, I frequently hear the term aggressive panhandling. It means different things to different people. What we've tried to define it as, relying in part on the prior ordinance and the Santa Fe ordinance, is activity that goes beyond the First Amendment right of solicitation into activity that would otherwise be thought of as some sort of criminal offense. For example, touching a person without consent is a simple battery, but that is defined in aggressive panhandling. Abusive language, threatening language, that's an assault. That's also covered. If a person asks for a donation and the person being solicited makes it clear, no, I'm not going to, and yet the solicitor continues after the person, that's similar to a form of harassment. So these are things that are defined as aggressive panhandling and that are prohibited across the board in all places at all times. And the second part is ordinary panhandling or solicitation. It is protected speech, and yet what we hear, and I'm sure you do as well from the public, is that aspects of it are troubling in some way. It's generally a public safety measure, whether it's somebody who's out in the street blocking traffic, possibly get hit, up at an ATM where a person is trying to withdraw money. These are the things that are addressed there. As you can see, if you've had a chance to look at it, it's pretty concise. There's not a whole lot of detail to it. We can add that, but the idea here is to hear what your concerns and input is.
The way we're going to run this is we're going to go around the room once. We're going to start with Mr. Yutsi's side. So Mayor Pro Tem is going to go first.
Two things that I have concern with. The first one is 15 feet from an automated teller machine or an entrance to a bank or financial institution. I really feel like that needs to be 30 feet or more, just because of the issue that we've had at the ATMs with senior citizens trying to get money out. 15 feet, you can't tell if a person's intent is good or bad, and 15 feet is too close to that ATM to feel safe. So I really feel like that needs to be further out, that parameter needs to go further. And then the other concern that I have is this is all good and well. I know that we're doing this. It shows that we have a commitment to try and fix the issues in our community. But I'm concerned about the penalty side of these ordinances. Are we gonna draft up penalties and amounts for that side also, so that when they do get cited, go ahead, Chief. Oh, you Chief. She's raising his hand over there.
I'm sorry, man. Honorable Mayor, governing body, Mayor Pro Tem. Just before the judge, municipal court judge left, there was an issue that we had that I wanted to talk with Mr. Rennick and the mayor on that. In this type of ordinance, we can't have penalty assessments. It's technically a misdemeanor. So this is a mandatory court appearance. So there will be no penalty assessments for these violations of this ordinance.
That's what I wanted to.
He just wanted me to fix it. I was going to talk to the mayor and the city legal afterwards, that we can't have both. It can only be a mandated court appearance.
So if somebody has a mandated court appearance on one of these issues and then they just continue to do this, how do we fix that?
I think what we could do, and that's something that if there's a series, just like with any other crime, if there's no levels of degree, then all we do is, what we've been doing is continue to cite them in the court. We might have to look into something, maybe increasing that. I know he was showing me Santa Fe has a first offense, second offense, third offense. And that's something that we haven't implemented into our ordinance, but that's something we may be able to think about.
Is there any way to tie some type of penalization to this?
Well, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, if I could please.
Judge, hold a minute, Mr. Rennick. Okay, Judge Madrid.
So, the way the Santa Fe is written is it goes into saying that in chapter 1 point something, the penalty is what a misdemeanor is for the city, which is $0 to $500 or 0 to 90 days in jail. As long as it says that in the chapter, that the penalty goes to our chapter, which is chapter 1 point something, then the court can prosecute 0 to 90 days, 0 to 500 on a misdemeanor.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that answers both concerns. Thank you, Jeff.
Counselor Salazar.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna, just be a little blunt. I don't see how none of this is gonna help. We've gone over and over and over again. I'm wondering what teeth are we gonna give our department to enforce this stuff? What are we gonna do to have their back? Because all they can do, all they can do is just go tell somebody, hey, get out of here. You're gonna end up in front of the judge or the court appearance. These people don't care to give them a $5,000 penalty assessment. They don't care. They're gonna be back out on the street just doing it all. It's a boomerang effect. It's a boomerang effect, and nothing's gonna change. We can put any resolution, whatever we want, but these people are gonna do the same thing over again. We need to try and find something or some way that our legal is working on it. I know that our hands are tied, basically, and our police officers do have a fight too. With the state law that passed it, they don't want to harass anybody because they can come after them. Is we really need to get into the nitty gritty instead of just putting some pretty print out there saying this is what we're gonna do and that's that. Have you guys ever thought of any sort of key, anything to be aggressive on this situation instead of again slapping him on the wrist, throwing him out? It's a boomerang effect.
Councilor Salvatore, and also in response to Mayor Pro Tem Martinez, this of course is one of the subjects that the chief has discussed a lot because of the enforcement of, assuming you get an enforceable ordinance and it's legal and constitutional, how is it enforced when many people are transients and, as you say, don't really care? The chief was looking at some sort of progressive enforcement that would rely on the initial part of a minor penalty, maybe just a warning, but that progresses on up to something that would be more serious, that would get people's attention. Let's just suppose, I won't speak for the chief, so I'll invite him to speak, but if you cite somebody who just blows it off, then the municipal judge would issue a warrant. You bring him in, and that's a whole different deal. That's a much higher level, just on both sides, on the person side and on the resources of the city. You can't do that every day with a lot of people. So I think that if there's a way to be progressive about it, and again, it depends on what the offense is. Aggressive panhandling offense would be treated more seriously up front, as opposed to simply being too close to the edge of the pavement type offense. That's something that I think the chief is working on, and would invite him to speak to if he's got any thoughts on it. Otherwise, we are continuing to look at how other communities do that, so those that do it successfully.
I'll follow up to that, and I guess the question to the chief, Mayor, if I may. Do we have the manpower to enforce all this? Because we can, put 30 feet, and of course we can put a 30 feet zone, we can put, 100 feet zone, but it happens in a split second, and they're gone, they're out of here. So do we have the manpower to enforce these sort of rules that we're putting out there?
Honorable Mayor, governing body, Councilor Salazar Flores. As you know, I'm a love person. We, at this point in time, we tested this past week for 4 people. And I'm hoping they go through the process. And I've already guaranteed, just like I guaranteed, I believe the counselors have expressed to me the importance of our schools. I've mandated that one of my officers be at the school. I promised the mayor that with the manpower that of these 4, I was going to assign 1 to only deal with our aggressive panhandling along the Riverside Drive corridor. I remember that's just 1 person and he's going to be a new one. I'm never going to say that we can't do something because that's not my approach. We're going to do the best we can, but the safety of our community comes first. And I deal with calls like this every day, and I have to explain, we prioritize the calls. Life and death is first. That's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be for us. Now, do I wish I had 40 people, and I know the mayor's heard this, and we're both working on it together? Yes, I do wish. But this isn't something unique to our valley, to our city. Every department, I mean, Albuquerque, if you read the journal every day, the same things we're talking about here tonight, they have. I mean, it is unbelievable. And I come from there and I can tell you to talk to friends, but I'm not worried about Albuquerque. Albuquerque can deal with their issues because I don't work there. I work here in our city. What we're trying to do is every program we can. We've been talking, I've been working extensively with the city manager and the mayor have given me exclusive audiences with them that all we do is talk about how we're going to get more people for my department. I think we're never going to stop, but I can tell you this, that I look at things both ways, and I know you're talking about teeth. If we arrest somebody on the first offense and they go to jail, it's going to cost us $70 a day. Are we willing as a community to pay that? So where is that breaking point for our city? So if I start sending everybody to jail, 95, if the judge starts sending them to jail, we send 10 people in one day, that's $700 we're having to pay to house them. And then I have to send my people to go pick them up and bring them back to Espanola. So I think this is a judicious decision that we have. I agree with you, we have to address this. And the only way is for me to be able to have personnel out there. And I think I've dedicated, when the mayor and I first spoke, and I promised with these new positions that you all have authorized me for, I would give 1 to work the Riverside corridor. And he doesn't know it yet, he's gonna be one of my new ones, but he's gonna be out there, just like my SRO, and trust me, sir, the backlash that I'm taking from having a dedicated SRO is unbelievable, but I promise that. So I do promise you with these 3 we have, hopefully 4, I'm gonna have to put 3 on graveyard. I'm massively understaffed on graveyard, but that 1 extra that I hopefully get, he will be on the Riverside corridor. So I'm gonna tell you, I don't give up, and we're not. When you ask me, can I do it? We're gonna do it. Well, I'm gonna do what I can, and that's all I can promise you. So I want you to know that. But yes, if you give us more, if we have a means to bring more into Espanola, yes, we can do it. But again, we have to talk at what costs, because I look at both ways. If we're arresting anybody, I know how much it costs because it comes out of our budget. 70, I think 80, I think that I know how much it costs us. So it's all up to you, the governing body, to make those decisions. I will enforce any ordinance you give me. I will go out there and our department will enforce it. So whatever you all give me, we'll do it.
Thank you, Chief. Let's give him what he needs.
Had a comment. Go ahead, Judge.
Thank you. I would just like to ask that when you guys sit down and meet again on this, if I could be included on it, just from the judicial side that's prosecuting. Are you guys voting on this tonight?
No, this is our first reading.
Okay, I'm gonna send you, you, mayor, and the council, a couple emails that I have on the judicial side that says why the ordinance was repealed in the first place from the ACLU, the New Mexican. I'll send you the articles. I want you guys to look at them, and then you could look at this again. My only comment was on the back side where it says any peace officer, page 4. On the back, it says B, any peace officer may enforce this ordinance by issuing a penalty assessment misdemeanor citation. That right there, a penalty assessment and a misdemeanor citation are 2 totally different things. There's no such thing as them together. A penalty assessment is for a traffic citation, for speeding the client decides that they want to pay the citation, then they have a penalty assessment amount. If not, they go to court. A misdemeanor is an automatic court appearance in front of the judge. So it would need to stay, the reading should be a non-traffic misdemeanor citation is how the city police issue them to the court.
Mr. Rennie?
Yes, thank you, Judge. That is something we'll take a look at, what means of enforcement are available to the city. And you have code enforcement now, this would be a code provision. There's a possibility of civil enforcement. We'll look at these things. I would like to addressing Councilman Salvatore again. I'd like to give you a couple of examples and get your feedback on that. In terms of something like ordinary panhandling, if we look at public safety factor and look at, say, a distance requirement that would say eliminate medians as a location or on a sidewalk or street corner, a certain distance from the traffic lane, 3 feet, 5 feet. If that is something we can do and is constitutionally enforceable, then the example would be that somebody's standing on a median and the chief's officer go inform him he can't be here, but you can be over there on the sidewalk. And so the person goes over there. That's something the city is going to have to accept. You cannot outlaw this, but you can regulate it. So if that is something that works, okay, move over the sidewalk, then it doesn't require a citation or a court appearance. It requires simply education and information. On something else, because one of the things that I've heard that is a concern is solicitation in private parking lots. And I think that from what I know of other communities, what I've heard here, what I've seen myself, you pull into Walmart or Walgreens or wherever, and there's solicitation there. And sometimes it's simply asking, sometimes it is in the form of some sort of action. I'll carry your groceries for you. I've got a parking space over here. I'll take the grocery cart, something like that. It's a little different from the situation out in traffic because in this situation, the person's outside the car. In most circumstances, the person parks and gets out of the car. It's a different type of interaction. It's largely the responsibility of the property owner. Of Walmart, Walgreens, go out and go here in the parking lot, but they need assistance from the city. So if you look at this, part of what we're trying to figure out is how they can post signs that say soliciting cannot be done on this property. The police will be authorized by the property owners to swing through, patrol and say, you have to go back up to the place where it's allowed. And if they do, then you're okay. If they don't, it becomes trespass and enforceable in that way. So these are examples that come up that we're trying to figure out how to address, and very much interested in council's input on it.
Councilor Benavides.
Thank you, Mayor. That was one of the things I was thinking of. You know, the main thing for me is getting them off the weekends and getting them out of the main thoroughway, which is Riverside Drive, right? In that, could we designate an actual location that we say, this is the only place you can go, you know, ask for money. And if people want to stop here and give you money, that's up to them. But, you know, one of my things is, boy, I sure wish you could find the people giving them money, because I'll tell you that I did do some research in Los Alamos County, and I went up there and I spoke to several individuals. And the one thing I heard from every single one of them is that they're not up here because we won't give them any money. We just don't do it. And you don't see it up there. And that's the reason why the individuals who live there told me, we want a clean community. We want walkability. We don't want those types of individuals in our community, and they don't come here because we simply won't give them any money. So, that's a big thing, educating our individuals to stop doing that. I mean, I was in line to turn down to Prairie Lane by Walgreens, and I can't tell you how many individuals called the person over to give them money. And did he cross lanes to go get money from somebody? Absolutely he did. And, it's dangerous because if somebody's not paying attention, the light turns green, or if it's dark at night, I've seen that happen as well. But more times than other, I've seen people actually call them over to give them money. So it's gotten to where they don't even have to solicit anymore because individuals are calling them to hand the money. So, I mean, I think educating the public, to stop doing that. Again, you're gonna complain about it, then stop doing it, stop giving them money, right? And the other concern that I had is on page 4, number 1. I think this is, one of the main things, and it says solicitation from median, sidewalk, or other right of way within 5 feet of the edge of the nearest traffic lane, except to receive a donation offered by a person in a vehicle that is lawfully stopped and it is not impeding the flow of traffic. Well, that's the number 1 problem we have. So, I mean, and I don't know how we're gonna resolve it, but I mean, we gotta do something. And even if they go to court, I mean, what are the cut leaves? I mean, don't stick them in jail. I mean, there's gotta be some sort of a program or something that we can do. I mean, and to me, there's a whole lot of cleanup in our community that needs to get done. And, I think a lot of these individuals, number 1, aren't from our community. I can tell you, there's been some that I wrote on my window and I'm like, who are you? Who's your parents? Where are you from? And more times than other, they're not from here. But they're coming here because of the generosity of this community. And it's difficult for any one of us to stop giving this individual's money. It really is, but it's not adding to the beautification, number 1. It's not helping our economy. We're trying to come up with ways to develop economic ways to grow our community. It's difficult when we have this happening in our community. Same thing with the homeless. And we have to, I think, figure out a way also to educate individuals to stop giving out the money.
What, ma'am, Honorable Mayor, governing body, Councilor Benedict, one of the unique things about the ordinance that we all worked on in our city attorney and I, we're going to be citing not only the person that's aggressively panhandling or the person that's violating the ordinance, we're going to also violate the driver of the vehicle. So I don't know if you saw that within our ordinance. That was something new and unique that we had. Now, when we come into where they park safely off the road, that's something that we can't really, like the city attorney said, that's something that can be done regardless. And I think the biggest thing we're doing and the biggest thing in our meetings that we talk about is that we're not in any way criminalizing homelessness. We are criminalizing behavior by anybody. It doesn't matter, even the drivers of the vehicles. So we're keen on that, is what we're keen on, the crimes, the offenses that are committed. But yes, we're not only going to cite the aggressive panhandler or the person violating, we're going to cite the driver. And that's why I want to get that personnel on Riverside Drive, because I want everyone to see that we're stopping someone that rolled down the window when the light turned green. We're going to pull you over first, because just like you said, you're the cause. We want that, but we're getting there. I mean, I can just tell you, we have a plan. We're trying to fill in the positions, but we do have a plan to get there.
Thank you. In the interest of time, we're gonna go get comments from the council. Emma and Nat are taking notes so that we can work on these together. But I don't think we're gonna have the exchange of questions right now. I think we'll do that at a later date, but we're just gonna go around the room and get the remainder, the commentary. Councilor Salazar.
Okay, just a quick comment. Thank you, Chief. I just wanted to mention was the safety of the drivers, and the panhandlers standing on that little 1 foot median, a little slip right off, the safety, it's a safety issue. And Councilor Benavides mentioned just crossing the streets. No, there are no crosswalks. They're just put right in front of you. A lot of people end up breaking, so it's a big safety issue.
Councilor Rodriguez.
I think we can all agree that this is a challenging subject, and I appreciate the time that you have spent on this draft. I share the same sentiments of Chief Garcia. If we penalize people and we put them in jail, we pay more money to keep them housed. With panhandling, my concern also comes severe littering. There is litter everywhere with panhandlers. If they're gonna panhandle, then they should pick up their stuff. It shouldn't be up to the city to be picking up after them on top of having to put up with the panhandling that's going on.
Councilor Manny Martinez.
Thank you. My colleagues here have a lot of great concerns and I agree with all of them. I do want to share with you a couple of stories as far as the panhandling and now that they made the entrance to Fairview Elementary next to the supermarket, what I'm getting is from panhandlers going from door to door of vehicles, all the way down, up and down, knocking on windows, trying to get money, basically. And this is happening to every parent that's going to pick up their kids every afternoon. And one of those parents works at Lottaburger and gave me a little story of what happens at Lottaburger. Lottaburger corporate told them that they are no longer to sell to people that are saying, I want to buy that person a meal. Because they're trying to keep the panhandlers from being at Lottaburger. Well, one of the incidences this person had was they told the person, I'm sorry, you can't buy that person a meal. This is the rules. That person picked up one of the machines that they had for iced tea and threw it at him and walked out. So this is kind of some of the stuff that's going on. So when you talk about re-educating people here, yes, we do need to re-educate them. And yes, they are here because we give. And yes, they don't give them Los Alamos, but they're very smart in Los Alamos. They give to the soup kitchen, they give to pathway shelters, they give big money so that we can keep that programs here, which keeps, guess what, here? The panhandlers and the homelessness. So I think it's something that we really need to look at, re-educating people, re-educating our businesses and to teach them not to be afraid and work diligently with our police officers to get them out of the parking lots. I know it's a big safety factor when it comes to the corners, and it's not just for the panhandlers. And I know our friend here from the Rio Grande Sun's here, but I've had several times where I've seen people almost get hit from behind because someone stops to get a paper right at the light, and it stops traffic across the road, or they go around it, which causes another incident. So I think there's several as far as safety reasons, but to me, the big concern for most people is when they go to the store, whether it's Walmart, Center Market, Walgreens, whatever it may be, walking from their vehicle to that door and walking to the door back. That's their big safety factor. They have a choice whether they're going to give them at that intersection, roll up the window, but most of these people are afraid. They come up and aggressively just talk to them, hey, give me some money. They're going to give them something just to get them off their back. And I think that's where I would like that portion more focused on myself, because I think that's where the main issue is myself.
Thank you.
Councilor Dennis Tintalasa.
Yeah, thank you. I want to bring up three things, but I'll bring them up fairly quickly. But things I've noticed because I work in Santa Fe, so I lunchtime, 5 o'clock traffic. I notice a few things, and I'm starting to notice things there. Coming into Escanilla. Okay, so going to Walmart, as you're shooting into Walmart, of course I can't say names, but all I can say is like a little guy, because right in that area, the weekend is like so small, just like Councilor Denise had mentioned. This guy is rocking back and forth, so then southbound traffic is going, and as he's rocking back and forth, I was just watching this guy. It looks like he's gonna be hit by a car, even by the mirror, as you're going the other way. And I just find that extremely dangerous for him, for anybody, especially standing in the weekend. So, of course, these are things that need to be looked at and addressed for concerns for these individuals, but also in the general traffic as well. Okay, so in Santa Fe as well, we did discuss, actually it's going to be page 4, item number 4. It states in exchange for performing the service for the occupant of a vehicle, such as cleaning the vehicle's windows or reserving or directing the vehicle to a parking place. Okay, I don't know what Santa Fe has or does not have, but on the intersection between Spears Road going into St. Francis Drive, there's a gentleman that just disrupts traffic. He goes, and I don't know if you've seen him, but yeah, he goes and he's beating windows, and then people are honking, and it's 5 o'clock traffic. People are, ready to go home, but the traffic, the people are stopping so they can pay this guy because he's cleaning their windows and so on. There's another area at Smith's. Okay, there's a guy on Smith's and Spears Road nearby. There's the guy and a girl that are sometimes panhandling. So this guy's there, and he has so much trouble getting people to stop to give him money. But then there's a girl. She wears short shorts. She wears the type shirt. People are stopping left and right. It's ridiculous. But she's getting all this money, and that's a thing that I am concerned just in general with panhandling. Of course, within our city. So I think these are things that we definitely need to look at, back to what we can and what we can't do. And just like Councilor Salvatore enforcement, how are we going to be able to enforce this with whoever is able to enforce it, and then how stringent this ordinance is going to be. So I think that's the key right there. There's just several things that are very concerning. And I'll state this right now, sooner or later, something very bad is going to happen. And I hope it does explode. I'm glad that we have this in our agenda. I think we really need to all continue working together to try to figure out a way to get these issues solved, but not just that, but be able to get these enforced and scare these individuals who are doing this, so they won't be just like getting a slap on the hand and going right back. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilor, thank you. Councilor Edie Valdez.
Yes, thank you. This is a very big concern for the Panhandlers Safety as well as our citizens. I myself am afraid. I usually don't carry cash, just my card. And when they come up and ask for any change or money, who knows if they're going to turn on you because you do not have any money. Sometimes people give just for their own safety, so they don't get angry at you, but for not giving them anything. So it's a big issue. I wish there was an easy solution, but there isn't. And I realize that Española, we are not the only ones plagued with this. I guess Los Alamos is different, but Santa Fe, Albuquerque, I've seen it everywhere, different states. So we have to do something for our safety, and I'm glad we have this draft going on. And I realize we can't arrest them every time. The cost, the police manpower, we don't have it. I guess by educating the citizens, by not giving, but then like I said, I fear for my safety if I do not give. And I usually don't give because I don't have cash, but it is a very big issue. And I get just continuing brainstorming, working together. I'm glad that Judge Madrid was here and putting his input, the chief of police and all of us, and our community. We need more help from them too. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the governing body, for your comment regarding the situation. It's extremely concerning, I think, for the future of our city. We really want to impress upon the people, don't contribute to the problem. You are not helping by giving any sort of money, food to these individuals. I had someone call me last week that was complaining about the homeless people, and I told them, well, what did you do about it? Well, I gave them $7, and I said, you just contributed to the problem. They are not helping the situation when we're contributing money or food, contributing to a charity situation.
want to say thank you to you and, Jay and city manager and chief for putting this together and having the motion to sit through this. It's a working document for, do you want us to email you, Jay, one by one, what we feel about possible changes that we might like to see?
So the clerk will send out a draft of this to you all. I want you all to take it apart, that's your homework, review it as such. I was hoping for us to try to get this hopefully for adoption at the meeting on September 13th, but we'll be coming very close if we give you guys this week to do that.
You know, in my other life, I used to work at a nightclub. And we used to throw people out all the time, right? And it gets to a point where, sorry, you're 86, you're coming back in again. And I know that the casinos do that as well. Can you 86 person from a city if they continue to violate the rule and say, you know what, we're not going to spend $70 a night to put you in jail, but we're going to spend $70 and send you on the bus wherever you want to go, but you're not staying here.
Well, you know what, I heard a story about A.B. Valdez when he was the police chief, that yeah, they'd go and ask people to get them out of here, they would take them in the squad, you would take them to Santa Fe.
I mean,
that was back.
I mean, I know that sounds, you know, maybe a little on the funny side, but right now I believe Texas is sending an awful lot of people to Washington. You know, that are not supposed to be right now in Texas. So why can't you do that with people that are violating our rules and doing this to our people? 86 person from the town.
But even assuming that you could do that, there's nothing to prevent them from coming back. But
You're banned.
I would suggest that the Texas model is going to run into some pretty serious challenges. We can certainly look at that, counselor. I think that it's, and Mr. Hudson and the chief can add speak to the efficiency of the economics of it. I'm somewhat doubtful about that, but I understand.
I mean, I believe people have the opportunity to change their behavior and they have the chances, but I don't know. I always like to, I used to use on my kids the baseball analogy, strike one, strike two, strike three, and that's it, you're out. You know, and I think something like that and say, hey, you obviously don't learn, you can't even learn.
Mayor, in response to your question, September the 13th is what we were looking at. Because this is something that is easily susceptible to challenge by the ACLU, by others. If we can get it on the 13th, that's great. If not, it may have to be the next meeting. I don't mind individual councilors sending their comments to me, but do not send them to each other.
No, that's why the clerk, you'll send that as a copy of this draft document, and they're gonna send you everything that comes in. Okay, moving forward, we're entering into a public hearing for the adoption of ordinance 22-05. An ordinance of the city of Espanola granting Henry's Mountain Electric Cooperative Corporation and its successors and assigning the non-exclusive franchise license right and privilege to construct, erect, operate, and maintain its infrastructure, electric power business on such public rights of way as are presently owned or may from time to time be acquired by the city of Espanola within the limits of Espanola. I want for the record to indicate, I have no part in this discussion. This discussion has been ongoing since last March and last year. They did have a situation that's come to my attention that the co-op's attorney, former attorney represented the city, and the city's former attorney now representing the co-op. So it went through a lot of situations and such. This is completely worked on beforehand, before I took office on April 1st. It's finally coming to us because of just scheduling and finalization between the co-op's legal counsel and our legal counsel. I wanted to state for the record, I am the secretary of the board of trustees for Henry's Mountain Electric Co-op. I am also the trustee for District 4, Henry's Mountain Electric Co-op. I'm going to be recusing myself from tonight's public hearing. Mayor Pro Tem Martinez will be presiding over tonight's business for the duration of the meeting. And I believe Councilor Manny Martinez also.
Yes, I'll be recusing myself as well as an employee of Henderson Electrical Cooperative. So I will sit back and listen to you all.
Good evening, everyone. So, Mayor has read, the advertisement for the public hearing. I feel like the way to handle this is to, open the hearing and listen to pro and con comments from anybody wishing to provide us with such. And I'll ask the council to reserve any comment until the public hearing is closed, and then we'll open up for discussion amongst ourselves. So with that said, the time is now 8:44. I hereby open the public hearing for the adoption of ordinance 2022-05, an ordinance of the city of Espanola granting Henderson Mountain Electric Co-ops Incorporated, the corporation and its successors, and assigns the non-exclusive franchise license right privilege to construct, erect, operate, maintain its infrastructure electric power business on such public rights of ways as are presented, owned, or maybe, or from time to time may be acquired by the city of Espanola and within the limits of the city of Espanola. Is there anyone here wishing to discuss in favor or against this ordinance? I'll ask again. Thank you. Could you please identify yourself for the record?
I'm Marcelina Martinez. I'm trustee for District 6 of the Henderson Co-op. And I am speaking in favor because this is obviously something that should have already been in place. And I think now we're basically just formalizing sort of what we've already had. And I think it's going to be protective to both organizations. And hopefully you all are in agreement. That's basically just fine.
Thank you for your opinion. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor or against ordinance 2022-05? Anyone else? Is there anybody online?
The only thing I'm aware of on this that might not be clear is the franchise fee, which as drafted is 3%. Understand now that Hammond is suggesting that should be 2%. I don't have much information on that, but the representatives are here if you want to hear from them. And I may have that wrong. If I do, I apologize.
I think the document that was given to the council is at 3%, and we'll go into that a little bit under council discussion.
Okay.
But the way it's presented right now in the draft, it's at 3%. So we'll hold it at that percentage rate while we do the public hearing. Again, is there anyone else? Is there anyone online who wishes to speak in favor or against this that you can tell? Clerk?
Don't we see no one?
Again, second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor or against the ordinance 2022-15 allowing for a Hemis Mountain Electric Co-op to have a non-exclusive franchise agreement with the city of Espanola. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public comment and open it up for comments from the council.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second. We have a motion from Councilor Justin Salazar Torres, and seconded by Councilor Denise Benavides. Under discussion. So, one of the things that, Jay is talking about is that in the past, the agreement had always been at 2%. It was presented to the governing body at 3%. And what Hammond's Co-op does is they collect that 2% from the customers that reside within the city of Espanola, if I'm correct, Mr. Hastings. And they turn around and they write a check to the city of Espanola for that amount monthly. And in seeing the 3%, I would like to earmark that, since it is a franchise agreement with the electric company. I would like to earmark that extra money to be the extra 1% to be earmarked for lighting the areas of our community that are not lit. So I would ask the maker of the motion to consider amending the motion to reflect that.
Can you state that again, ma'am?
I would like us to take the 1%, which is about 86,000, give or take some. Save that money and earmark it to light up areas of our community that do not yet have street lighting.
So I'm okay with that, amending my motion to state that 1% of the 3%, that those monies go towards areas in the city that are not lit or that may need service to them.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Second on the motion, agree with the amendment? I agree. Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Counselor. I appreciate that. Any other discussion? Being none, we'll call a question. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Councilors Dennis Tim Salazar,
For the motion.
Justin Salazar Torres,
In favor.
Manuel J. Martinez. Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Denise Benavides. Dorothy Didi Valdez,
For the motion.
Aaron Salazar,
In favor.
Nanette Rodriguez. On motion. Mayor Pro Tem Peggy Sue Martinez.
In favor.
Motion carries.
We have, the mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. Scared of me. Let it go.
Thank you all. Regarding this ordinance, Mayor Pro Tem will affix her signature to it. I will not be signing it, obviously, and then because on the Hemmings side, I have to attest to it as the secretary, which I also will be recusing myself. With no further business to come before this governing body, we're gonna adjourn the meeting. It is 8:49. Thank you all. Oh, I apologize. Debbie has, no, that's weird.
City manager's report.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It is late. I'm just gonna email to y'all in the morning. If you have anything, just respond.
Yeah, Debbie has tickets and invitations to the Heather's Mountain Electric Co-op annual meeting from the co-op. And then the September 7th is when the Freedom Pie dinner for the food people is coming happening. And we really ask and appreciate if you could help us sell tickets.
You know, that's it's great.